Introduce yourself.
I'm Jay, former Tung On member.
What era was that?
I came out in 1989. Yeah.
So you're with Sonny's crew.
I was under Ako.
Ako
was under Sonny.
Oh, okay. So Ako was directly under Sonny.
Correct.
So yeah, like I said, during that time, like I said to you before, for my knowledge, Sonny was the top guy.
Yes, he was the top guy. Him and Gordon.
Yeah. Can you tell the audience about during that time when you that shooting at at the association, the Tongan Association?
Okay. Yeah. It was one night. There was a bunch of us up there. It was me. There was a guy named Saw Jai Meng. I was standing with him at the front door. You had Michael lying on the table. There's a table that stretches across Gong's Hall, long table. Mm-hmm. So he was lying on that. You had Cole, Crazy Paul, a few other guys at one MJ table, and then some soldiers and Norman on another MJ table. And I see Jack walk by. And he goes straight for Norman. He grabbed him by the hair and he said, in translation, excuse my language here, fuck your mother's stinking cunt, you want to play with me? Mm-hmm. And immediately fires 3 shots, point blank to the head. I see Norman's arms go up like this, probably reaching for his head because that's where he got shot. But as far as he goes, he collapses off the chair. At this point, Jack turns around, walks straight for Michael, and all of us are in shock. Nobody moves a muscle.
Wasn't expected.
Yeah, it's just, you know what I mean? So he gets to Michael. Michael realizes that Jack's coming for him. He rolls over, has both hands covering his head, but Jack gets to him, grabs him by the hair, same thing. 3 shots point blank to the head. At this point,
so it was Norman and Jack Norman and Mike that got popped by Jack, Little Jack.
Correct.
Yeah, I heard about Little Jack.
Then he turns around with the gun in the air. Cole happens to be sitting right there. He jumps out of his seat, starts tumbling backwards, and he's like, Jack, and Jack didn't say nothing. Just had the gun in the air, walked out the back, and as soon as he left, we fucking scatter, you know. I remember jumping in the car with Cole, Crazy Paul, and I think Cole's girlfriend was there. So he tells us to get across the bridge, Manhattan Bridge. And as soon as we get across the bridge, Cole says, tells me to go call 911. And Crazy Paul asks, why are we calling 911? And Cole responds, we'll be giving the guys a chance at survival, So, but, in my head, I'm thinking there's no way they can survive that, But I jump out the car anyways. I run to the payphone, and I made the 911 call that night. Yeah.
Wow. For what I know, out of all your daima, Ako, to me, he's a very gutsy person. That motherfucker got some balls. I give him the respect. Now, if he was in shock during that time, I mean, like,
he was the only person that moved, that reacted. Nobody moved a muscle. Everybody just standing there like, what the fuck, Yeah. He's the only person who reacted, who only he still had his sense.
His sense, yeah. Cole, to me, he was a nemesis towards me. Me and him got beef.
I remember,
but I respected him because this motherfucker had got balls.
He did.
If he's willing to do a fucking straight up Western style fucking shootout, he would stand there and fucking have a shootout with me.
It's Cole's group that did all the dirty work.
Yeah.
We did the dirty work.
They were the operational team. Yeah. So, did you guys ever find out why Jack did it? What was the beef over?
Some speculated that it was over a girl, and that may possibly be one of the reasons. But I know for a fact that it was over money, power, and respect. How I know this? Because I was with him one day, and I remember him complaining about somebody fucking with him, right? So I'm thinking, what group can this be now? We're beefing with everybody at this point.
Yeah.
So
you got the Dragons, and then you got us.
Gumbai, Folk Chang. We were beefing whichever way we turn, we're beefing with somebody. So I was with Jack. Yeah, he mentioned that somebody was fucking with them, and I'm like, who? And he said Norman, and I couldn't believe it. I said, okay, can you give me an example?
It's very rare.
Then he told me that Norman once took a bunch of the soldiers, Dilen, went to his restaurant and Chinatown.
Disrespected him.
This is his restaurant.
Okay.
He collects the protection fee, monthly protection fee. So obviously they gotta deduct that. If your guys eat there and they don't pay, they deduct that off the protection fee. So that's the only reason he gave me. And I do remember him making a comment to me. He said, I made him and I can finish him. And shortly after, it happened.
So now, since you mentioned all this, and you gave me the story of it, I'm pretty much came to the conclusion is that Jack brought out Norman and Mike, gave them the way of Tongan life, gang life, and show him the road. Eventually, he stepped over bounds, went to Jack's restaurant that was under his jurisdiction and fucking collected, or Chindan or whatever.
Yeah.
And also disrespected him.
Exactly, yeah.
And I'm pretty sure it had more than that. It was a build-up to led to that point.
It was more than that, definitely, yeah. Sure.
Yeah. So, well, I didn't realize that, because the struggle that you guys had, the Civil War, was between Faijai and Ako, right?
Yeah.
And Faijai was taken out already during that time.
No.
No, Faijai's still around?
He was still around. There was tension between the group. They both told the younger guys to stay away from each other. And I remember Ko stepped away for some business.
Okay.
And that's when Fight came and tried to recruit us. That's where he fucked up.
He tried to take over.
That's all it took. And there was a hit put on his head.
Yeah, because I know who did it. Well, let's not name the names. I did the time with those guys, and I heard it was that hit came from high above, all the way above.
It might have been. Yeah. I know it was a hit made from inside, and it was also done by our own guys. Yeah. And I remember the hit was for $30,000 and $1,000 for each additional bullet in his head.
Wow.
And supposedly he ended up with 5 rounds to the head. Yeah, he didn't come out alone. He came out with a guy named Gordon.
Gordon was with him.
He got it too.
They were driving his Eagle Talon.
Yeah.
And he got hit. The hit happened in front of his mom's house in Queens, right?
Yeah, I didn't know that part. I know it was in Queens.
It was in Queens.
I didn't know it was
in front of a block away from his mom's house.
Shit. I didn't know that. Yeah.
It was in the newspaper. I don't know how accurate it is, but that's what I
remember seeing something about it in Queens. Yeah. That's all I remember, a shooting in Queens. But
pretty messed up during that time internally for the Tongans, huh?
Yeah, man. It's just he got greedy. He got greedy. I know he was dealing drugs. I think he was dealing heroin at the time. He was making money, and then he got greedy. Then he wanted to take over the streets. So. Oh, by the way, Golo Fai Hai Fok Chow Yan, so they took him out, yeah.
So he probably went a little bit, he became a little bit too arrogant, huh?
Oh, that for sure, yeah.
So who was Jack under? Jack was under Cole.
We were all under Cole.
And
Jack,
Cole was under directly with Sonny.
Correct.
Sonny was the head.
Correct, yes.
And Agwan during that time, what was his position?
He had two guys under him, Richie and Achoy. Richie passed away, he got murdered by the Dragons, and Achoy passed away from cancer. So I'm okay. I can mention, I guess I can. Yeah.
But his relationship, Agwan and Sonny were partners.
They're friends, yeah, Hingdai.
But top guy was...
Sonny had the bigger crew.
Okay, like I said before, during my era, 87, 88, 89, 90, throughout to the time I got indicted by the feds in 92, 93, the number one guy in Tongan, East Broadway, was Sonny.
Correct.
Because for us to be on the street, we have to be aware of who's in charge of which gang, who's the Dailo, who's the Daima, who's in control, you know. So we don't. If anything happens, unfortunate incident happens between the younger kids or whoever, whatever. There's an argument or there's something transaction that went wrong. We have to know who to contact to try to squash the beef if there is beef.
Correct. Yeah.
Or even eliminate the beef before it escalates into a beef. You know. So for all I know during that time is that Sonny was number one. Agwan was very active as a Dailo too, but the one that had all the saying was Sonny. All right. I dealt with Sonny a couple of times, you know, during that time. I was a Daima on my street, and the Daimas, I believe there was two of them during that time that was fighting over the position was Ako,
yes,
and Faijai.
Yes.
And Faijai had a lot of fucking guys, because they beat the shit out of Alok down in
Yudong.
Yeah. So let me tell you about a little bit something about Faijai. Right now, the night I spoke about it that I had an order that came down that for me to take care of Faijai.
Wow.
So he has an apartment on Broome Street.
Yes, he did.
Okay,
yes,
second
he
floor.
Did. Yeah.
All the way straight
Wow.
down. Once I get up the floor, all the way straight down to the at the end of the hall. Yeah. That's his apartment.
I know he lived on. I know he had an apartment on Broome Street. That I know.
I had the key to the building. So the night that there was one night that I had somebody drove me there, I didn't tell that person what I was doing. I just told him wait for me 1 block away at Kenmare and Mott. Right. I walked over there. I opened the door. I went upstairs to the second floor. I knocked on the freaking the apartment and I stuck my gun. I remember I had a high power Browning 9mm. Right. I had 2 clips on me, one in the freaking, it's fucking 7 shots, right? So I had another clip on me just in case if anything happened. So I pointed that fucking gun to the peephole, and I kept on knocking the door. It was like around 11:30, 12 o'clock at night. I was hoping somebody would answer, Binango, and I would just fucking, kept on firing and empty my clip, right? Yeah. And hopefully I hit somebody and fucking run off. Nobody answered. I knocked it for like around 15 minutes. I stood around. I was like, you know what? Let me get the fuck out of here before it gets too hot. I walked downstairs, walked back to the car, and once I hopped in the car, fucking cop car was following us around. So I said, get on the fucking Williamsburg Bridge and cut out. And that was it. Next day, how I used to get information is from the girls. The girls hop around, different crew.
Yeah.
I usually have the language, talk to the girls, where they hang out. So they told us what happened. And then I read the newspaper that a Faijai and what's his name?
Cole.
The other kid.
Cole. Gordon?
Gordon, yeah. Got fucking gunned down in Queens, a block away from the mom's house.
Yeah. Gordon,
inside
I
the Eagle Talon that a fight was driving. So I said, that either way, he was going to get eliminated that night.
Yeah.
It wasn't for me. It was by somebody else. I didn't find out who put a hit on him until we all got locked up in the feds. That's when it came to light that it was internally.
Yeah, it was. And
Ako was on the run already. He went back to Taiwan already.
Only 2 guys got away. Only 2 guys got away from
Ako?
Ako was one of them, and Bochai, Crazy Paul. Yeah. So them 2 got away. I believe they got a tip. Somebody tipped them off, obviously, and they took off.
So when you were on the street in '89, when you joined Tongan, you were very young.
I was 11, going on 12.
Wow.
They specifically told me to carry the gun.
Yeah, you're underage,
Yeah.
minor.
Yeah. So that's what I did, and I knew all the unmarked cars from 5th Precinct. They had 2 taxi cabs. I even remember the ID number, 4Y81 and 6Y29. Okay, it's just seared in my brain, man. So I would spot them a block away, and it was very easy for me to just walk away. I'd simply walk away alone. You would never think a little boy crossing by you has a gun on him, you know. And you know, back then, I don't think a lot of gang members would suspect it either. I think I never ever remember seeing any kids around when I came up. I was just the smallest little thing.
You're freaking 11, 12 years old. Who the hell would? I mean, whatever gun you carry, it's probably bigger than you. You know?
Yeah, for sure.
And I know for a fact that during that time, nobody was carrying anything small. Everybody had a 9mm or 38 above.
A lot of 38 or a 9mm, basically. It was,
It went a little bit sophisticated with weapons. How about the East Broadway mobile gas station shooting? Were you around during that time?
I was away. Actually. I was in DFY, Division for Youth, juvie.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, they shot this Thai kid from Queens. Yeah, I forgot his name.
Could you, tell me what you heard when they told you about it? What happened? How did it happen, and everything?
There was these 3 guys that used to follow a fight. Simon, Peter, David. They jumped the shadows.
Yes.
Supposedly they took our pieces before they jumped over, and I think they pulled off the mobile gas station hit. They were, you know, as just to prove to the shadows that you're down with them, go pull a job on us. I believe. That's what I heard.
That was on my indictment. So we'll talk about that later on in another time. But very similar. I'm not saying that it was those 3 people, but
I don't know who it was. I'm just
pretty good guess though. Very close, but not exact. How about the LeQ shooting, the pool hall?
I guess that was in retaliation, right, for the mobile gas station thing. I know it was 3 guys. Kichai, Saw Chai Wai. I don't know.
It happened twice, actually.
LeQ.
It happened twice.
I only know about that Stuyvesant kid that passed away.
So that one was from a new recruit from our gang. It's a brand new kid. This kid named Richie. He did 25 years in the state for that. Because in the feds there's no homicide. So he got charged with 2nd degree, and he copped out to 25 instead of going to trial. If you go to trial, it would have been life. He got into argument. He was at LeQ. I think he got disrespected because of a girl, whatever. And while one of the kids one of your crew's kids were walking out, he pulled a gun on the guy's head and fired a shot. That was the first incident.
Yeah.
Second incident was when you guys
3 shooters
try to retaliate, but you guys missed. Instead, you got a bunch of school kids. And it wasn't Shadows. They were affiliated with Shadows, but they weren't really gang members. So that's what I know. I just want to hear from your side of you, from what you heard, because you're a Tongan, you know?
Well, I mean, it was all over the papers. Obviously, they, you know.
I don't want to hear from the papers. I want to hear from us, yeah. The papers, a lot of bullshit into it, yeah.
I remember Kichai telling the story. I remember they were shooting. He knew the cops were coming. He ran upstairs, and he tried to get away from him. Supposedly, he jumped out the window or something and hurt his leg, but they caught him. Yeah, he eventually caught him. He's out. He did his time. He's out.
So it was three kids from your gang that went back to retaliate for the previous shooting, because you probably caught wind of there was ghost shadows there.
Yeah.
And wanted to put your statement out, and that's what happened, right?
Yeah. It's exactly the way it happened. You know.
All right, let's get back to the Jack shooting at in the association. So Mike and what's the other guy's name that got shot by Jack?
Norman.
Norman, yeah. So they both died during that incident. And what happened to Jack afterwards?
Oh, that's right. He killed himself. He wrote some letters, and then he offed himself at home.
Oh, so he committed suicide after that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. He wasn't gonna run. He's American born, like you. You couldn't stand it in Hong Kong.
There's no way to go.
Yeah. So he wasn't gonna run, and he took his own life.
So it wasn't like there was rumors saying that he got taken out by his own people.
No.
But like you said, he committed suicide. He felt bad for what he did. Did the cops eventually found out the whole story, the whole scenario?
Yeah. He left letters. He wrote letters before he shot himself.
Very fucking unfortunate.
And then, of course, 5th Precinct was hounding us too. They was hunting us down, pulling us in for questioning. So, a lot of corrupt cops and police brutality back then.
Yeah.
I know we didn't pay off the cops back then because they used to bust our balls. They used to bust our balls. Every time they saw us, they would round us up, search us, and if they found a gun on you, not only were you going to get locked up, they beat the shit out of you,
For some reason, I get, I know I heard stories from the 5th Precinct cops. We're right next door to them. They always come down and talk to us. I mean, to be honest, we're right next door to them. They give us a lot of respect. Maybe we've been neighbors for so long, but they got some, beef against you guys for some reason. I mean, they fucking hated the Tongans.
Busted our balls. I'm telling you, they wouldn't give us a break. Where's the gun? Where's the gun? It's just.
Yeah, I heard stories. They go down to East Boria and mess with you guys.
They never gave us a break. Yeah, they would hound us for sure.
Thinking back when we were kids, when you were a kid, you joined the gang when you were young. So when everybody got locked up, when everybody got indicted in 92, 93, and they rounded your Dilo and everybody. So what happened to you guys?
We were still around for a little bit. We teamed up with a fucking East crew. They suggested that we join up with Gokkin. That didn't work out, obviously. And at the end, they're all gone. We come back.
Right. So just for the viewers to understand, Gokkin was the daima of a crew from back then that used to follow Lai Wong. Right?
Lai Wong, yeah, I know.
Used to be with Lai Wong and Lo Fu Zai and them, right?
That I don't know. All I know was he used to be Kuan Yin.
Yeah.
He used to be, I don't know if he was a Dilo, maybe he was a Dilo or something, but he was supposedly old school Kuan Yin, and yeah.
So when everybody got locked up from Le Dilo and them, they all got, locked up, indicted. It was you guys left, and then Gokkin came back down to the street, tried to take over. So how did that end up? What position that they gave you guys? That they?
Well, we fought eventually
Against them.
Yeah, they tried to kick us out. So I think I took a break.
Okay.
You know, I took a break. We didn't have too many guys left after Rico, and some of the guys went home, and then you know, we fell apart. Yeah, so we, like I said, we teamed up with a fucking East group. I took a break. I know they were going at it for a while, but eventually the fucking East group took them out.
And everybody got rounded up anyway, Gonki's crew. While Gonki was on a run too. Later on, he was on a run.
Okay.
Yeah. As your personal feelings towards the end, do you think it was a blessing that everything fell apart and you had a chance to, you know, get back on the right track? You know?
Yeah, for sure.
Because you were young. You know?
I was 15, 16. Yeah, when that went down, I was real young. But I was still out there for a little bit throughout the 90's though. But eventually, I left all that alone. Got into the restaurant business. Been doing that for a long time now.
You didn't go back to school, but you know.
No, I didn't go back to school. I never liked school. No.
Looking back to your youth, would you find that experience? How would you? What do you feel about it? How do you feel about it? Yeah. Was it necessary?
I mean, I do regret it, but it was exciting, It was, it was exciting, adrenaline pumping, that's over.
Yeah. I'm glad everything worked out for you, and I mean, luckily, you weren't too deep into it, where you had to, get indicted with your Dalo and them, and eventually freaking do time. You're lucky you got away.
Yeah.
And I'm happy that and at the same time I'm proud that you made got yourself back on track.
Yeah.
Let's put it this way: that night could have been you in the Gungsaw.
Yeah, for sure. And
Jack would have went freaking crazy and would have shot up. Besides them two, would have been a couple more. That was a very unfortunate incident. I mean, he was very young too. Jack, how old was he?
He was 17 at the time, but we were growing fast. We were growing very fast. I can say that much. We were moving fast. We were growing.
It's funny, teenagers from Chinese teenagers, right? They tend to be a little bit more mature.
Yeah, I think so.
Than other ethnic groups at that age. The way they handle themselves, right?
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, we follow our elders.
When I was still on the street, I didn't get along with Sonny, your Dilo. But after I did my time, he did his time, and then we later on, when we got released in the 2000s, we sat down and we had a drink with each other. We got to know each other. I mean, let's put it this way: everybody, the people back then in the street, we didn't know each other. That's why we had differences. They had their gang, we had our gang. It was about egos.
Yeah.
I'm bigger than you, you're bigger than me. That type of shit. Try to hype over each other. But once you sit down and you have a deep conversation, heart to heart, man to man, I find him a very nice person. I find Sonny a very upright human being.
I didn't see him too often on the streets either, but whenever I did, he seemed very quiet, very, didn't speak much. Not a very loud voice either, I remember.
He's a funny dude though. He's a funny dude, yeah. He has a good sense of humor, and He's not one of those backstabbers.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a proper person. Yeah. Very proper person. Yeah. Me and him had some good conversations. Yeah. All right. Let me ask you. You were at such a young age, 11, 12. What made you join a gang during that time? Any bullying or?
Bullying. You know, came from a broken home.
Where were you living during that time? Where were your family living?
I was living at 191 Madison Street, right next to PS2, the F train on Madison Street there, in Rutgers. Oh, you know,
bad neighborhood.
I actually want to ask you something. Do you know there used to be a little game store on Rutgers Street between Henry and Madison. Supposedly these guys were shadows. Fat Al, Kai, Yam, those are those names. So, Fat Albert.
No, they weren't us. They were. I'll tell you who they are.
Okay,
those guys are Dice's son, Angel's crew. Angel. Angel. Even though his father left Skip Town, but you know, your forefather, the one that built Tongan, was a Dice, a 6'9". Right? He's a goat.
Yeah.
His son Angel was always at Henry Street, between Catherine and around that area, Catherine, Madison, between Market, on Henry.
Yeah.
So, they're good with everybody because after 1984, when the 25 Ghost Shadow got indicted and got locked up by the feds, there was a time when 6'9" was down in the Mott Street with his crew operating gambling houses. So Ghost Shadow and 6'9"'s crew kind of got familiar with each other. If you say that those kids down there at the game shop call themselves Ghost Shadow, they probably affiliated.
They're ABC, I tell you that.
Yeah, they're affiliated,
ABC
but I won't say that they're Ghost Shadow. But what I believe is that they were 6'9", Dice's son, Angel's crew. He had a little crew down there that hang out with him. After all, that's where he lives anyway. Yeah.
I used to live right there. I used to go there when I was elementary school. I used to hang out with this guy's kids, yeah. In that store, I used to be there all the time.
It could be Angel's crew, you know? Yeah.
Well,
one whole family. Actually, everybody's related in a way. Has a relationship with each other. But it's just, like I said, the face, ego. My gang is bigger than your gang is tougher than my, that couldn't, get out of their freaking head. Everybody wanted to be the number one. But don't forget, whoever's the number one always get fucking knocked off.
First one to go down.
Yep. That's what's wrong with Chinese people. When they don't have an outside enemy, they tend to fucking fight against each other. It's happened for centuries. From the beginning of history of the Chinese people. If they don't have outside invaders, they tend to fight among each other. They have arguments, even Toisan people. I'm Toisan. So I know for a fact that fucking Toisan and Toisan always fucking argue and bicker. They could argue about anything. But there's one good thing about the Chinese people is that once they have an outside common freaking enemy, they all band up together.
Yep.
For instance, BTK, the Canal Boys. When they started, terrorizing Chinatown, Chinese gangs won't allow that. You're drawing too much attention. We let you exist, but then eventually you start freaking with everybody's operation. So everybody had to, gang up and try to take him out.
It definitely interfered with everything.
Well, that's a really good example of how Chinese people are. They have a common enemy, and they banded together to freaking eliminate it. And if they don't have no enemy from outside, they'll start to fuck with each other out of no reason. It's the nature of Chinese people. And the funny thing is that, like I told you in other videos, once I got locked up, Hong Mao, one of your guys, Mike, Tung, you know Tung? Say Tung. Yeah. So they're all TOs, right? We all became really good friends. Me, them, Tongan, the Pell Street Flying Dragons, we all became freaking good friends in jail.
Even, after Rico, us smaller guys, we started hanging out with each other too. I know Dragons now, I know Shadows. We all chill out, we hang out, you know.
Those days are over. Those days are over, it's past. We all mature and grew up. We have a different set of mind. There's no need for that, you know. Everybody just want a simple life now. We did our time. We did what we had to do when we were young. With whatever circumstances or whatever motivation we have nowadays is all about, you know, living a simple, quiet life, you know.
For sure.
And try to be respectable. The older you get, the more you understand. When we were young, we were embarrassing to our family.
For sure,
And as we get older, we really don't want to continue this embarrassment towards the family name, you know.
I mean, I know my mom, a lot of sleepless nights, a lot of worrying, you know. So thank God that's over with, and my mom can sleep now.
How many brothers and sisters you have?
I have 3 brothers.
Older?
I got 1 older, 2 younger. All boys. We're all boys.
But you're the only bad one.
No, I got my younger brother too. Yeah, these guys. When I was in juvie, they recruited my younger brother.
But you can understand nowadays that what you guys put your mom through, you know. The sleepless nights, the tears that come with it, the worrying, you know, don't know when the hell you're gonna be back. And every morning when she buys a Chinese newspaper, begging and praying to God that you're not at the front page, you know.
She's good now. You know, I'm good. She's good. We're all good.
You should be proud of what you accomplished with yourself. You know, you left the life, the gang life. Right?
You
have a family of your own. You're making your mom proud of you. You have your own business. You're an established, upright citizen. You know, you're taking care of your family. You should be proud of yourself. You did good. You know, it's just a path and an experience through life that you. Sometimes it's a shame that we have to go through all that bullshit to get to where we're at.
Realize.
Yes.
Yeah. It was definitely a long road, a long, hard road.
But you accomplished it. You know, you did good.
Thank you.
Here it is. You see this? I won my battle. I finished battle in my shadow. I shot my arrow. It's time to think it over. I had to. I touched that ladder. It didn't really fucking like matter. I watched them gather. Cause 92 is when it all shattered. Born and bred, BK. One thought, get paid. Move work, catch phase. What more can I say? Be first in battle. Trust me, life matters. Raised up, no father, more like a Chinatown guy. Go shadow.